Welcome to the Lead Up Leadership Podcast. Hear from rising leaders and seasoned leaders across various industries to see about their leadership journey and how you can level up your leadership game. Here's your host, Renato G. Lead up!
All right, and we are back with another episode of the Lead Up Leadership Podcast. And I'm excited about this one because I met this gentleman, my guy, right? About a year and a half ago in Stockton. I was new to the area. Always heard about Stockton, right? But with my new role at the time, I was getting to know different folks, and I saw this guy many times just throughout in passing, and I just liked his vibe, and just really when we did talk, just kind of hearing more about his story and the different things. And actually, when we first met was I believe at Hamilton. There was like a career fair or something like a resource fair, and this guy's like, "Hey, you want some kombucha, bro?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't really drink kombucha, but Latino guy, got to support, and so drinking, and I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And so one thing led to another, one kombucha led to a conversation, and just kind of again hearing the story about his business, Amor Kombucha, and so I want to introduce none other than Martin Sanchez. What's up, sir?
Well, what's up, Renato? Thanks for having me on, man. It's an honor, bro, for sure. Yeah, and it's funny to think about how we did meet. You took me back to that day, man. I remember just like hustling, trying to get all that stuff up that ramp, like to the table to set it up. And I think it was like Education Equity Summit or something like that.
Like
yeah.
Trust. Yep.
So yeah, man, this is awesome. Well, you meet good folks at that type of stuff. So I'm glad we crossed paths for sure.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna talk about how that all started, right? Kind of that journey. But could you just share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, a little bit about what you currently do?
Yeah, definitely. Once again, my name is Martin Sanchez. So I'm a local Stockton native, born and raised. So my parents are immigrants from Michoacán, Mexico. So I'm first generation here in Stockton. So quick little bio about myself. I'm, like I said, first gen. I'm the oldest of five in my family. Amongst my siblings, I've pretty much worked in a lot of different fields. Went to Franklin High School, graduated Franklin High School, then went to Delta College, Sac State. And throughout that time, I've been working since like about 15, 16 years old. I worked like if anybody remembers in Stockton, I'm gonna just drop some old gems. It's like John's Incredible Pizza till now. I've worked retail, AT&T. I've done all types of stuff. Now I work at Stockton Scholars as well, virtually. But I started my journey also as a business owner back in 2018. So I started my own kombucha company, Amor Kombucha. So with the whole thing behind that is I started that because I wanted more brown representation in the health and wellness space, and also just advocacy around health, right? So that's kind of a little bit about me. I ended up graduating Sac State. I know I'm all over the place, but when I graduated Sac State from actually I started as business, but I ended up majoring in nutrition. I love nutrition. I had my own nutrition journey throughout that time. So it made me switch gears and like just go all in on my nutrition education. And throughout that time, I learned a lot more about food insecurities, food desert, like just access to healthy food. And I was just like, yo, like besides everything else that we are excluded out of, right? Like, in terms of like Black and brown communities, like I was just like, yo, like access to good food is not like there. I even like if you do, right, it's expensive or if so I was also too, like when you look at the shelves, like who runs these companies, who owns them? There's nothing coming back to the community itself. So I was like, you know what? Like, and I always drink kombucha. If no one knows what kombucha is, right?
Explain.
Yeah. So kombucha is, it's a great drink. It's been around for over 2,000 years. The nickname used to be called like elixir of life. So it's fermented tea. So the fermented tea is basically, you start as a sweet tea and it evolves into this bubbly, lightly carbonated, like slightly bitter, but not too, like my style is not too crazy bitter. It's more like smooth, little smaller smoother to the palate. But it's really great for your immune system, especially now when the immune system is like got to be A1, right? And also it's good for your intestinal digestive health, which is related to a bunch of stuff, especially like mental health and all that good stuff. And then we get into also just overall wellness in your body, right? Like if you're like need a little little energy. It got you if you need like recovery or like stress. It helps detoxify. So it does a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but in general, it's a really great drink. And I seen an opportunity to create a Latino business and
Yeah.
create flavors like with Jamaica, like
Nice.
tamarindo. So like, it doesn't exist. So I like, I was
Right.
like, let's make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so now, like I said, I came back to Stockton after Sacramento, and I started working in the community. And I've been involved in, besides my business, I've just been very, very involved with community work, mostly around like a lot of outreach, engagement, marketing, all that good stuff. So that's how
Yeah.
we cross paths too.
Yep. And man, you said a lot of good stuff, and I'm curious if you could start maybe go a little bit deeper about, you mentioned your nutrition journey.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about what was that journey about, and maybe how that's connected to how it led to Amor Kombucha.
Definitely. Yeah, no, like, yeah, it's always nice when you like end up somewhere, right? And then you reflect on like what got you there.
Right.
It's so many different plays, like that's like God's work. Like
Right.
there's nothing else that could put that together. But so I was like for a little fresh out of high school. Like a couple years after, I was working full time at this. I worked at like a cell phone place and then like a jewelry store, just doing sales because it worked out with college. You know what I
Hustling.
mean?
You
Like
a hustler, man.
always, bro. So like trying to make it happen, like
Yeah.
especially for folks like anybody that's for the most part like first gen or anything, like you understand, like you're like your parents are like, well, let's go figure it out. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like
Right.
so work has always been the thing, so yeah, so I was working, I injured my hand. I played baseball most of my life growing up. I injured my hand. I got pins in it and I like surgery and stuff. And then like I stopped playing ball. I stopped exercising. I was just
Yeah.
working a lot and eating a lot. Like,
Mm.
and then later on I gained a bunch of weight. I was like unhealthy, just working, going to school, like just didn't have a life, right?
Right.
And then one of my friends that I worked at the mall with, he put me onto like the paleo diet.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, what is this paleo diet thing? He gave me a book and he was telling me about it. Then he introduced me to CrossFit. He took me to
Mm.
CrossFit gym. And then and then he had me do like this thing together, like eat this,
Yeah.
eat that. So that if anybody doesn't know, paleo diet got like super popular, but it was doing like this around like 2009,
Oh, wow.
like 2010 era.
Yeah.
So like back then it was like new, like I don't know what the heck it was, you know what I mean? So it was like basically if you can't grow it, kill it, or like basically like if nothing processed, no, it was
Right.
like nothing but fruit, veggies, and like just like good quality meat or chicken and stuff, right?
Right.
Things like that. Long story short, a few months in, I dropped a bunch of weight. Like I was super healthy. Like my allergies went away. Like I
Wow.
had bad allergies, man. I had allergies when I was young to a point where I needed an inhaler because my seasonal
Wow.
allergies. But that cleared out. I was like, what the
Mm.
heck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's here? There's something
Mm-hmm.
here. So, later on, like I got to the point where I was even competing for CrossFit from like
Wow.
being unhealthy. Yeah. So once I was able to transfer from Delta to Sac State,
Mm-hmm.
I was already doing a lot of research because I was like really bugging out how like my whole system changed, right? Like
Yeah.
even my discipline, like just the way I would do stuff, like I was able to read more.
Mm.
Like in high school, just to be honest, like
Right.
where the high school I didn't really read too much, man. Like
Sheesh.
I
Oh,
wasn't I didn't
read.
I wasn't in the IB program, you know what I
Right.
mean? But like the IB program in
Yeah.
Franklin was great, but I
Yeah.
wasn't part of that. So
Right.
we,
I got you.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
long story short, yeah. So once I got to Sac State, I just said, man, you know what? I'm just gonna make the jump. I decided to study nutrition, and throughout that journey, I learned more like what was making me like, okay, I'm starting to understand this, like the science,
Mm-hmm.
getting into like the diet stuff, like okay, doing the research on like
Mm-hmm.
so the microbiome, which is like your like basically your internal digestive system, like how
Yeah.
you're like people talk about probiotics and stuff, right?
Right.
So the good bacteria, bad bacteria. So I was studying that like pretty intensively, like, and then that's what I love to study. And I
Yeah.
always drank kombucha throughout that time. Keep in mind, like I was a weirdo buying this stuff from mom and pop
Right.
shops.
Yeah.
Like no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I was just drinking it, and I just liked it because I stopped drinking soda altogether. So I needed
Got you.
something to kind of
Okay.
replace that fizziness. So fast forward, whatever, I'm doing my thing, and then like I'm like, yo, there's something to this. Like I like it for some reason. I gravitate towards it. So I started doing research on it. So that's when I found out, like, oh, maybe that's why I like it. It's giving me all the stuff my body needs to like thrive,
Makes
right?
sense. Right.
Yeah, and all if I'm depleted in some minerals or vitamins, it gives it to me, vice versa. And then I started putting people on to it, and then I got to a point where I was like a great brand ambassador for a lot of different brands, companies, and like snacks. I was like the dude. Yeah,
Wow.
so like any job I went to, I even did like a little side hustle project at my jobs where I meal prep for people and stuff the fridge. and like I would sell the meals out the fridge at work. So
Nice.
like, yeah. So long story short, like I found out that, I was like, you know what, there's something to this. Let me figure this out. So yeah, man, like in terms of starting the journey for Amor Kombucha, it was a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a big thing. And honestly, I love people, man. I love like I'm
Yeah.
social.
Yeah.
And then like food and stuff is always like a good way to be social, right?
Of
Like
course.
we
Yeah.
gather around food, dinner, drink. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's just my vibe. Like I love it.
Yeah.
Like so I always put people onto stuff. It's like it fits me. So and then I always like educating individuals if they're open to it. Obviously, right? I'm not the one forcing people the
Yeah.
information down the throat, but
Right.
like yeah, man. So long story short, like I had a business partner initially going into it. I think you met him too, Alejandro, at
I
that
did.
event.
Yep. Yep.
So we decided to go into the business together because I had more of like the market research. Like
Right.
I was like looking at it more of like landscape, like as a business, and he had prior experience of actually brewing the kombucha for like a
Got it.
cafe in Utah. And whatever, we decided to go into it. We start playing around with recipes, doing all this type of stuff, having ideas.
Yeah.
We do this incubator in downtown Stockton. It's no
Right.
longer around, but it was called Entrepreneur Lab. And
Right.
then so we completed that, and then we're like, okay, like we're serious now. We got an off. We actually decided to get an office like in the huddle space, like open
Yeah.
co-working space. So that's like made us commit. You know what I mean? So and then a few months in, he had like twin babies, so he decided to part ways with the business. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Like I don't want to let it die, so I'm gonna like just keep going.
Yeah.
So that's how Amor Kombucha was basically born, man. Like it was just
Yeah.
very community led. We do a lot of community, different samples, different tastings, and just being in areas that
Mm-hmm.
no one's in. Like
Yeah.
where you seen
Of
us, no
course.
one's ever in
Of
pockets like
course.
that doing stuff
Right.
like that. So yeah, man. I just think it was important for me to like put like my tias on, my abuela, like my
Right.
like cousins, like people like migrant farm workers,
Of
like
course.
people that don't drink this, that need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm man, that's an incredible journey. And to think, when I first met you to now, and just seeing the growth of it, seeing it always on social and people always resharing it. And as we talked about reflection, even before the call, right? I want to ask you this next question, and hopefully it doesn't throw you too off. But
No, you're good.
what has been your biggest accomplishment and failures with the More Kombucha business?
Oh man. Shoo. Like even like so like something that popped in my head, I forgot to explain about the journey. That's not so like I don't want to skip it because like I'm a big person to talk about failure.
Yeah.
There's more gems in our losses. Wins are dope because you know what you made it work, but you learned that way because you lost, right?
Right.
I was unemployed for almost a year, bro, after Sac State. I
Mm.
graduated Sac State. So, and then like I finally came back to do community work because I finally just like didn't give up on health career, but it was just
Yeah.
like it's not happening. That's
Yeah.
what made me really push hard for the business to
Got
create
it.
it. It put me in that like survival mode. So
Hmm.
there was like that's what got me there. But as of now, I think for Amor, like I think a big success for me, honestly, man, is it's just a blessing to be accepted by the community and
Yeah.
be revered like as someone that is fighting for our people in a different way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but like recently I had a great opportunity to be part of a promo run for the LTX Fest. So it's
Hmm.
an event put on by the Latino Community Foundation of the and like a bunch of other organizations. It's mostly
Yeah.
for tech. It was mostly for
Gotcha.
tech people,
Yeah.
but they reached out and I got the opportunity to do like a promo run of like what
Mm.
makes me like Latinx, like what
Yeah.
how do I identify, like why am I doing what I do?
Yeah.
And it was dope because I went to that event last year just networking, and then
Yeah.
like you fast forward a year and I got part of the event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a big win. I also got, I'm just gonna name off a couple because I can't choose, but
Yeah.
like the actor from Hentified, JJ Soria. So I don't know if you know,
Oh
if you
wow.
watched
Yeah.
that show. If
Yeah.
you watch
Yeah.
that show, he's Eric, like the cholo dude, like in the show.
Hmm.
He showed mad love, man. He like enjoys it. I shipped them off some packages, like and then it's
Hmm.
cool, man, to connect with people all over. Like I
Yeah.
met so many dope people from like across California and other spots because of
Yeah.
Amor. So
Yeah.
I think it's just a journey that I've met like my tribe, low key. You know what I mean? Like it's like people
Gotcha.
that just come out like I think it's finding your people and like they're on the same mission. Uh, a big and also too, man. I think the
Yeah.
big win, like just honestly, it's just proving to myself that I can, bro.
Yeah.
Just because like
That's
doubt is
huge.
a lot. Doubt is a
Yeah.
lot, bro.
Yeah.
And a big loss, honestly. is, I would say, missed opportunities sometimes, but because there's so much going on, or like you think you can't do it, or there's not enough time.
Yeah.
Something tangible that I could think of, like in terms of like something that fell out.
Yeah.
It's just like not doing enough research, or like doing or thinking you like, or like having quote unquote like too much idle time. And I don't want to promote like that whole like don't sleep hustle type of mentality, because like I've been there and it's not healthy. And you know, it's important to take care of ourselves, especially now. So but yeah, man, like I just think it's like kind of like things where you put off just because you feel like you got time. But then it's like, nah, if you got like, I think like the me is like, you know, like for example, like I should have put together that plan to, because someone else hit me up. I didn't have it ready. Now I got to stay up all night to do it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, I think it's just like, not doing like my, cause I was terrible at not prioritization, but like like to-do list, like organization, like that was been a big hurdle for me. So, me not preparing myself sometimes ahead of time for certain things is like, now I got like a notebook for everything, but like before like it was like I think I could catalog all of it, and then it's like, nah, that's not happening.
You are 100% right, and I'm gonna definitely touch back on the people tribe thing, because I know that's a huge thing. But I did want to talk a little bit more about like difficulty and challenges. And I love that you're talking about notebooks and cataloging, man. Like as I've grown, you know, in my position or role, or just even responsibilities, like it's just impossible to catalog more things. Like your capacity only has so much, right? And especially during this time with COVID-19, as we talked about a little bit before the call, man, like things are a lot different, and in some ways more difficult, right? And my next question is like, how do you personally lead when things get difficult?
How do I lead? You know what? As of lately, even more now, I reflect on times where I got through worse things, and I just do what I can at the moment. So like what that means, like for me, like with Amor, right? I created this brand. So this brand with it, like I created a couple of mantras that the brand like what it stands for, right? So the first one is lead with love, right? Because I put that on there because now it's my brand and I like breathe it. So it's like, it's brand automatically, like, and the brand came from me. So like, it's like,
makes sense.
It's not just pulled out like from this like marketing meeting because it looks cool. You know what I mean? So, and also like endure, conquer, and inspire. So I put that for a reason, because you could endure with love, you could conquer with love, and you could inspire with love. So it's a process to me. So it's like, I got really inspired by Nipsey Hussle's "A Marathon Continues," right? So that basically stands for like, you just keep going. It doesn't matter the pace, just keep going. And endure, conquer, inspire is almost like a homage to that, but it's my own version. So like, it's like, I know I will endure and eventually conquer this, and then somehow in some capacity inspire something or someone to move forward. So the way I lead in difficult times is honestly just reminding me of that mantra. Like I had to create a mantra, bro. Like it was like that. And also too, man, like some of the craziest times, like even like a difficult time where I had to lead like with confidence, like my head high, and I went crazy ham, was I got let go from my previous role just because it was like, we had like a misunderstanding and stuff, and it was good. You know, we parted ways. It was time. But like, I literally went to my office, got on my knees and prayed and thanked God. And I was like, thank you, God. This is your place. Cool. Like, this is what it is. This is what you want me to do. Let's go. Like, thank you. Like, so it was more like, I just always try to shift my perspective to like the silver lining. You know what I mean? It's easy. It's not, it's more difficult said than, it's more easy said than done. But at the same time, you know, like, like you're a testament to like what like God's work is. Like every day you still show up. So so as long as you show up, and like to me it's like the golden rule is huge. You just got to show up, be good to others, and be good to yourself. You know what I mean?
I love the mantra. You said say it one more time. Starts
endure
with the E. And conquer, inspire.
Yep.
That's dope, man. Shout out to Nip for sure. I want to go back to the people in the tribe. For those that may have seen the HBO Stockton on My Mind, you may have seen this dude make a quick cameo here and there, which was dope to see. And I think it speaks to kind of the level of character and just kind of like how important who's in your circle, right? Who you hang out with. And I want you to share the importance of friends and network and how that impacts how you move, your leadership. Being, for example, right, being in close relationship with someone like the mayor and people like of that stature. How does that impact you?
Oh man, it's a lot. It's like a 180 sometimes, you know what I mean? Like just because before, like, previous circles, you know what I mean? Like, and it all serves a purpose. You know what I mean? I think all of us, like, and I don't want to assume, right? But like I know for a fact, like instinctually in your gut, you feel like I know for me, I always wanted more. Like I had this hunger or like this want or like this desire to like keep like aspire, right? To like continue to grow and stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it happens. Like sometimes like the people around you or even yourself, you outgrow it. You're like, oh, I'm over this now. Like I'm cool. But like in terms of circle, man, like I think it's important to be around individuals that one you could that are dependable, like, and it's important because and also that that also individuals that hold you accountable,
Yeah.
and that check up on you, like, you know what I mean, like some of those people like in that dog will text me like, yo bro, what's up with the thing, like did you get that done, like from our last conversation, and it's like, oh dang, that's right. So like but it's also dope to me too, because sometimes a lot of that stuff, it goes without, you don't even have to talk, it's just being in the company, right? It's like,
right,
you see someone like doing some dope stuff, like for example you mentioned the HBO doc, it's like that's insane, like you're on HBO in a documentary, that's crazy. And I was just went to like a dinner, bro,
right,
it
no, of
wasn't
course,
like too crazy, but it was just like I didn't do nothing crazy on the doc, but it was dope to see it, like it was just, but at the same time it's like you said, right, it speaks to just the persistence and just like being around individuals that are just wanting to do better things for others. And like I gravitate towards that just because I've always been like a very selfless person. So, but yeah, man, I think you need people there, and also to just support you, man. Like I don't. You need people to cheer you on in your corner. Like you need people to like lift you up, just because you're like, I used to have this habit of being like an island, like thinking you could rock solo, but it's like, you can't do it by yourself. But like the people, for me, I think the important part was just being able to be with individuals that one believe in your vision, support the vision, and just connect you to folks that will make you like make that vision happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And also just too, man, just to like because in the type of world that we're living, like unfortunately, like as like people of color, like it's getting better now, but code switching is a thing, man.
Yeah.
So like it's cool to like just kick it with people after the end of the day. Like we could just like kick back and just be homies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like be like, let's talk about this. Like, why isn't this moving? Like what's going on here? But we're not like, you don't got to be all professional all the time. But like at the same time, we're homies, But it's been a blessing, bro. And it's been a journey. But like kind of what I was telling you, man, I found good folks deeper, and I built stronger relationships as soon as I went out in what I believed in. It was that's good. I went against the grain, bro. You know what I mean? So, and then from there, people were like, what can I help you with? Like, what can I do? And then, or what can I do? And then you build relationships, you know what I mean? Right. I think that's the one thing I think that's been tough during COVID. I miss like events where I meet you folks.
Of course.
But, but yeah, man, I think people need to, because I always tell people diet is not just food, right? Diet is what you watch. Diet is who you talk to. Diet is what you feed your mind. And like, believe it, man, like all this stuff going on in the world, like the world wants your mind. You got to protect it. Like you got to protect it at all costs. Not everything serves you. Be true to yourself. So like you got to like make sure whatever you ingest at any capacity, whatever you hear, even the music you hear, you know what I mean? Like you gotta be smart on what you're listening to. So, or hearing to, or being with, or like, if you're going through like a tough, cause like, I know I had moments where I'll tell friends like, man, bro, I'm going through like a rough moment right now. They're like, oh, you good, bro? You solid? But you got to be able to tell people that and be vulnerable. So, and also make sure people like friends that when you someone that you call a friend or someone that's in your circle, like they're just not gonna leave you hanging if you need support, like in that
Yeah.
capacity. So yeah, man, just go hard for your homies, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's important, man. I'm a big believer in that stuff. Like
Yeah.
my partner Ruby, she's awesome. Like she's always like she's mental health. She's a licensed social worker.
Oh, dope.
So she's like my therapist, but not,
Yeah, right, right.
no, but it's important, man. You need good
Of
people.
course. Yeah, no, that's huge, man. I love how you said diet is not just what you eat. That's totally 100%, especially for me. I value relationships so much, even more so now, right? In terms of
Mm-hmm.
you have to sometimes go over and above, right, to communicate, right? Whether it's sending text, right, more text than you probably did before, or these Zoom calls or phone calls, or
Yep.
different things. You have to be to sustain that friendship and that relationship that is super key during this time.
Exactly.
Um, and I love how you said that there are things that you can't do by yourself, and I agree with that. But there are some things that you do have to do by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like learning, right? Kind of what you're saying, like the things that you're pouring into yourself, whether it's the music, things that you're watching,
Yeah.
social. If you're having a business or you want to do something, there are things you got to do
Mm-hmm.
practically on a minimal level.
Right.
So, with what you're doing in terms of your business and even with Stockton Scholars, how do you continue to kind of stay on top of your game? What are you doing to continue to learn and develop and grow as an individual?
Whew. Uh, you know what? I think you naturally, it's like habits, right? Like, or like day to day things. Like
Yeah.
I used to be like, I used to get anxiety sometimes looking at the stuff I need to do.
Hmm.
Like I would like just shut down, bro. Like I would
Yeah.
just literally like look at my like, dang, I got to do all that, and then I'll be like, I'll shut down because I'll be like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But it's like, but then I started like doing them in chunks. Like
Yep.
today I'm gonna learn about this. Tomorrow I'm gonna learn about that, and
Yeah.
then like it feels more manageable. And then at the end of the week, you built like a
Yep.
little hut. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's like little bricks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you build a house at the end of the day. But I think for me, what's been important right now, I think more than ever, is time management.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
like with the full-time job and working virtually is tough, but it's also a blessing
Yeah.
because it's more work, I feel, but if you schedule yourself correctly, you
Hmm.
get your work done very efficiently.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's not easy because
Yeah.
like you said, right, I have my business too. And right now I'm by myself, so I do
Mm.
everything. So like
Yeah.
and it's tough, man. I'm pray I look forward to the day, and I'm blessed to like be able to hire someone hopefully soon.
Yeah.
But like, but like right now, I have to think about, like I manage the social media, I create content, I do the emails, I do the production, I do the
Hmm.
cleaning of the bottles, I label the bottles,
Wow.
I deliver, anything in
Todo,
between,
todo.
everything, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so like so long story short, it's like it's just really like prioritizing what's that, like what's right in front of you, and
Yep.
making sure like try to execute as best as possible.
Yeah.
And then also like for me, like just anybody out there, I know I met a few folks that do like they call it like hybrid entrepreneur, like
Uh-huh.
they do like full-time work, full-time business, but right now, like especially with this whole thing, man, like
Yeah.
people, like entrepreneur thing is no joke, bro. Like
Right.
I did it full time for like 7 months one time, then I did it for another, like I forgot how many months, just the business by itself.
Yeah.
It's tough as heck, bro.
Yeah.
Like there's no health care unless you pay
Right.
hell out
Yeah.
of pocket.
Benefits.
And then like, dude, that was a blessing to get this job, bro. Like, I
Yeah.
have health insurance and everything now with COVID and stuff going on. It's crazy. But like, I think it's important just to prioritize time and really understand, like, while I'm at the Stockton Scholars office,
Yeah.
I'm working on Stockton Scholars only.
Yes.
Like focus is important. So
Yeah.
like if you're like multitasking, I know people like we glorify it, right? Here in this country,
Man.
like,
Yeah.
but the data over again, it shows you actually get less work done, right?
Hmm.
If like say me and you got like a project, if we just focused on that project, we're gonna get a lot of it done versus like hopping between different meetings and calls, right?
Right. Right.
Because you're just pulled too many
Hmm.
places. So
Right.
and then so once I'm done though, I switch to like my Amor hat.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now I'm Amor all day. So like I
Yeah.
go do my things.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I honestly do that. I try as my best to look at events or virtual things right now going
Yeah.
on to like continue to learn, be
Yeah.
open, look at research, talk to folks. There's like still cool conferences going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, just reaching out to people, seeing, or
Hmm.
a lot of people, I always tell people like networking is really just like asking other folks like, how do I support you and what you do, and like build a relationship. It's not just like, it has like, relationships are exchanges. Like, let's support each other. Like, you
Of
know,
course.
and it doesn't have to be transactional either. That's the thing where people tell people, you know, just we're all students. So like, you know what I mean? Like, if I were to go to you, like, hey, bro, how do I start a podcast? Like, you could break it down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of work, you know?
I got you. Yeah. We got to get that more podcast going, man. And speaking of being a student in podcast, man, and how you continue to grow and develop, is there like a resource that has helped you, like whether that's like a book, maybe music, a podcast, or even like a tool that has helped you in your development, like that was like, man, this was like life-changing, or this was super essential to my development?
Okay, like just in general.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that help me. So when I go to like, when I'm talking about like my business and stuff, something that I'm super proud of what I've been able to do is create a dope brand, and like the visuals, the like aesthetic, like the marketing. I'm super proud of that, because to me, I feel like that's my strongest, like my strongest like hat. Like, if I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in my marketing mode. Like, if I want to go in on this, like I could go hard. Like, because I do my own graphic design and stuff. So and I'm self-taught, so like I'm learning, but I used to draw like sketchbooks. I used to draw like Dragon Ball Z all the time as a kid, like just random things.
Shout out to Dragon Ball Z.
Hello. But I would say, but this one book I always tell people about is the book called Contagious. So if you haven't read it, it's by Jonah Berger. So once again, I'm gonna shout out Nipsey, because he shouted that book out because he released like this $100 mixtape one time, and it was because of that book. And he got the strategy from it, but he flipped it to a mixtape versus like the guy he helped this restaurant sell $100 Philly cheesesteak just to get clout.
Wow.
Right, to bring people in.
Gotcha.
But and the people would split the cheesesteak like 4 or 5 different ways just to see what this $100 cheesesteak was about. And don't get me wrong, I guess like it had like a bunch of crazy ingredients and stuff. But long story short, the purpose of the book, it was just to kind of help you create contagious things, right? And how to like do it. So it's like essentially a marketing tool.
Of course,
but man, it's like it got gems, man. It got gems. Like it talks about triggers, like what what, you know, what's gonna make someone like, you know, be top of mind, top of tongue. You know what I mean? Like what's gonna make them talk about your brand, what like, you know, just so many different examples in there too. That's a powerful book I read. So I did one big pitch for the California Hispanic Chamber event here in Stockton. We had it in Stockton this last year. It was like for like, I forgot how much, like $5,000 cash, and we didn't get it, unfortunately, but we made the like top 5.
Nice.
But man, that was like the first time I had to put together a pitch event, like go pitch my business in front of all these people, and it was like super nerve-wracking, bro. Like it's so crazy. I've never done one in my life, and then I jump into it. So it was like, so long story short, I like one of my friends put me onto this other book by Guy Kawasaki. Like he's like this super like tech dude. He used to like work for Apple. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So he has this book called Art of Start that kind of helps you put together like a quick play too. Yeah. Which is good. Like if you're looking to like, he preaches like a mantra versus like a mission statement. He pushes like how to create like a quick business plan to like identify what you want to do. Yeah, man, I'm trying to think of another book that I loved. Those are really good books. I love that. Contagious for sure. I'll shout that one out. Another thing, honestly, what's another thing that I learned? There's like this, I don't know if there's this website called Udemy. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Online free courses.
Yeah. So like I checked that out. I've done some classes on there. Yeah, it's a good resource. But yeah, man, and honestly, I'm gonna be like the best. I still go, like I like talking to people still. Yeah. So like I've met with some really dope people, talk to people, like and like social media is a great tool if you use it with intention.
Gotcha. Like, Talk about that.
Like so people like, so I also, this other book I'm reading is called Seat of the Soul, and also there's other book called Power versus Force.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the difference between force and power, right? And
Gotcha.
how like authentic power is way better like force, right? Nothing forced is ever like dope, like
Right.
ever. So like, but it talks about the power of intention.
Mm-hmm.
So and then the power of intention is crucial. Like if like my intention before hopping on this call was to be like clear and like though like talk to like how we lead, right? That's your whole thing. Lead up. Like how do we
Yeah.
lead up, right? So but the thing is like with these books, I learned like intention. So like now like when I'm trying to do stuff like social media especially, you could get lost in it's like a matrix, you know what I
Oh
mean?
my
So
gosh. Yeah.
so I always tell people like, bro, I've been able to contact like a CEO of this beverage company that's like 40 million a year in revenue. Like
Mm-hmm.
I talked to their CEO all off social media.
Mm.
So like it's like if you listen, you know, like I'm pretty sure, like I don't know about you, but I'll be like finding podcasts with stuff that's relatable. Like I'll
Oh
let me
yeah.
go find people like I could learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the heck did they get to do this? You know, like
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like a beverage company has too many different things to do.
Right.
Like manufacturing, distribution, production, quality
Mm-hmm.
control. I could keep going, you know.
Right.
So I'm like trying to find out what the heck do you do. So yeah, so I heard him on a podcast. I love what he talked about. He talked a lot about gratitude and just like the whole karma, and like just how the things like how he revolves his business around. I'm like, oh, this dude's dope. So
Yeah.
like I find him on social media, shoot him a DM, do all this type
Yeah.
of stuff. I've done that with heck of people, and like
Mm-hmm.
not all of them work, but so most of them do, man. If you're
Right.
on the right path, if it's like to me, if it's authentic, it might work.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like people like social media is great. You know, follow good people. Like once again, going back to the diet, follow people that inspire you, follow people
Right.
that give you like tangible resources or tools or skills. Like
Yeah.
you could get lost in there. So just be
Yeah.
smart with what you do and what you take in. But yeah, those are some of the things that I honestly that I love, man. Like that. And I think subconsciously you just pick up things too about the with the people that you're around.
Yeah.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Yep. Yep.
So network as much as possible, shoot out that email.
Mm-hmm.
Those like don't sleep on regular tools like text message, like whatever works for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Like that works. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's dope. And as we start wrapping up, man, what's next for you? Like, you know, in terms of your brand, your business, for yourself, you know, what would you like to see yourself in the next 5 years?
5 years. Okay, let's go. So for me, for sure, growing the brand. Right now, I'm taking what some would call like the long route, like the
Mm-hmm.
long route. But I going into this like once again with intention, right? I wanted to create a solid foundation, create a
Mm-hmm.
company a brand that's able to sustain long term. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people go in hot, and then it's like a sprint, you burn
Right.
out, and then like you're not around.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the great stuff takes a long time to build.
Of course.
Like people like, you know, you look around like, oh, this person's like this, you know, over here at this stature. And I'm not even talking about like money either. Like
Yeah.
they're just good. They're great leaders
Mm-hmm.
in our community or whatever. It's like, yeah, it took them like 10 years to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't see the back end of it. So
Right.
continue to take the right steps and with the right people. I know for me, it's definitely building out the team. Great at getting some good folks that I've already been have the pleasure to that they're mentors for me.
Mm-hmm.
So building out stuff like that, and I would say by man, being like a force in that industry, bro. Like in
Mm-hmm.
the health and wellness, like people sleep like we're like a huge amount of money in this country as like
Yeah.
Latinos. Like we
Yeah.
bring in I forgot how much trillion in GDP. Like it's insane. Like
Yeah.
we could be like another country by ourselves.
Yeah.
So that also we're like the youngest like group.
Mm-hmm.
We're you know we're like also the youngest voting group. Like there's a bunch of different things, right? We have a lot of power, and I think for me it was like we need representation in health and wellness because as a brand you have a lot of power to create like efforts in
Yeah.
sustainability,
Right. Influence.
environment. You have influence, right? And there's also like a lot of great like philanthropic like opportunities you could
Of
take
course.
part as a company. So
Right.
for me it's like by year 5, you know what I mean, like being like a company that leads the way in our space, as in being advocates for people of color,
Mm-hmm.
like you know what I mean, like being inclusive, diverse, having a great team, uh,
Yep.
having be having products at least in a lot of like dominant like people of color like areas. So like for
Mm-hmm.
sure California, like all over, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, just being someone that upholds our people, which is like in our branding, everything, like everything you see, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm working on some campaigns, like I have some people helping me out, like doing like the old, like the classic, like taquiza in the backyard, but with Amor, but with Amor Kombucha instead of like beer, just like doing different things like that, try to shift the narrative. But yeah, just doing things like that, man, just growing, going into different products, hopefully, if Lord willing, like different products for sure. Yeah, just kind of start taking over, doing partnerships with people. I like that a lot, like partnering with companies or nonprofits or organizations that could use the support to do the work that's needed. So
definitely. That's dope, man. And if people want to kind of support you and maybe follow you on your journey, right, as you kind of build out the Amor brand, where can they do that? Where can they, hit you up?
So easy way to follow is on Instagram. They're probably the most active for the Amor Kombucha page. So it's AMORKOMBUCHA. So it's Amor Kombucha. My personal page is Mexcellence. So it's EMEX_CELLENCE. So I like excellence, but I put an M in the front. Excellence with the Mexican excellence. So yeah, like this whole, man, like it just follow those two. Feel free to DM me. Like if you want to email, we have all our contact info in there as well. You could also email like info@amorkombucha.com. That's a good one for like general questions and stuff. But yeah, we don't have our website's being currently worked on right now. So like I'm hopefully have the landing page pretty soon. I had one before, but I had to revamp it. Yeah, so hopefully, by year 5, you'll see us like in Whole Foods everywhere.
There you go.
Maybe hopefully sooner, and like just different things like that, man. Just I'm thinking about obviously COVID happened, right? And I'm not the only business that had to change the game plan. Right. There's a lot of changes that happen, a lot of places that are not operating as normal as possible. But yeah, just look out for us in any capacity, and also feel free to like let us know where you want to see us. We're always happy to do that. I've been thinking about doing some mobile pop-ups to pull up to areas for people, since we're not everywhere yet, but we want to go, spread the love everywhere. So
hey, I know some folks in Sacramento. That's all I gotta say, man. You know where to find us.
Sacramento's, man. I love that spot, man. I gotta go. We had a restaurant that had us on tap that would make like margaritas and like drinks with the stuff with our drink. So
nice.
So ours is non-alcoholic, but he would mix it with like tequila, and I'll do all these kind of fancy drinks. But yeah, Sacramento's the spot, man. I love that place.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, your hustle, the grind, all things that you're doing. And man, just want to continue to support you and just kind of on your journey, not just with your business, but really just as an individual, right? I know we haven't got a lot of time to connect, but very looking forward to, when things get back to normal, we can start building and how we can support each other, man. So really appreciate
man.
Yeah.
Likewise, man. And continue to set an example too, man. Wishing you the best. I know you got the higher ed thing going, supporting our youth, man. You're doing a lot of work too. So stay strong out there, man.
Yep. Well, that was another episode of the Lead Up Leadership Podcast with Martin Sanchez. Appreciate you, bro.